Good morning. Welcome to Adventure Dad. It is 5:35 on a Sunday morning. I cannot sleep, so I'm going to go do a little bit of research. This is my 2006 first generation Tundra. Love this truck. I've wanted one of these since they were new. One of the big problems I've had on this truck, whenever I drive it, the VSC or the nanny's stability control, whatever you'd say, would go off. Beep, 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 beep. Feel the brakes engage, 20 miles an hour. Now I'm going, that's the recommended. Speed limit up here is 35, 45. Here we go. And this is going uphill. Downhill, imagine towing a trailer downhill, and you're slowing down and you're trying to do everything right, but as you're going, then that thing kicks in. So, and I do have to say that since I've done a lot of work trying to adjust this, and it's the more work I've done on the truck, the more bushings I've replaced, the more suspension components, the better the alignment, the more even the inflation in the tires. It seems like the better the problem is. The big issue is it catches you by surprise. So now you've heard the warning, and you've also heard the brakes engage a couple of times, and I'll tell you, it's terrifying. You don't know exactly when it's going to happen. My kids hate riding in this truck going to the mountains, and the reason is you know, you're just going around a corner, you're not going too fast, you're in a string of traffic, nobody's really pushing, you're just working your way through the mountains on a 2-lane road, and all of a sudden you hear beep, 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 and then dunk, 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 and that's this, usually it's this left front tire, driver's side front tire, as you're going to make a right turn, because that's kind of the sharper radius, and it engages and it pulls you into that other lane of traffic. If you're towing a trailer, it's worse because it does not engage the trailer brakes. If I remember right, it doesn't engage the brake lights either, so the car behind you is trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Not only are you automatically, like, out of nowhere shifting into the other lane, but you're losing speed rapidly. At some point, you'll almost come to a stop. You'll go from 35 to 15 miles an hour. It's dangerous. So if I want to keep this truck and drive it in the mountains, I have to figure something out. There's a lot of different fixes for different Toyotas. However, there's not really a good clean fix for this truck. I did, at one point, I had a little problem with the ABS brakes a long time ago, and so that fuse blew. And I know a lot of guys online just say pull the fuse. The problem with that is if you pull the fuse for the VSC, you're also losing the analog ABS analog braking system. I do not want to do that. I just want to turn off the traction system here. That's it. When you turn it into 4-wheel drive, it disables the traction system. So if we're on the ice, you know, these trucks, the other thing about the traction system is you lose power a lot if it feels any slipping. So if you're at an intersection, it's a little bit icy out, you step on the gas, there's a little bit of slipping, and all of a sudden your truck just doesn't move. It just cuts power to maybe 20%. It's really a ridiculous system, and I don't know exactly when it's super beneficial. However, I want to be able to leave it on most times. My daughter's 14, she's going to be driving soon. This is probably the car she's going to be driving if we can get all this sorted out. I would like to leave kind of the nannies on for your everyday driving, make sure everything's factory stock as we can have it, but I want to be able to turn it off when I'm towing, number one. Number two, when I'm driving in the mountains, and I don't have to worry about it in the snow usually because I've just learned to put this truck in 4-wheel drive. So if it's snowy or icy, I just put the truck in 4-wheel drive, and then I don't have to worry about the stability control. So let me show you how I'm going to take care of this. Actually, let me show you my experiment. So we're up here on the top of the mountain. Going downhill is definitely when the VSC or the nannies kick in the most. So what we're going to do is we're going to do my little quick fix here, and we're going to roll downhill and we're going to see what happens. For this to work, the truck has to be off. So now the truck's off, hood open, of course. This is our brake master cylinder right here. We have our analog brake system over in here, and this right here, I don't know exactly what plug this is. I haven't actually tracked it down. If I unplug this right here, this wire, it disconnects the VSC system, traction control system. Let's go inside, start it up, and I'll show you what we're looking at. Okay, back inside now. I've disconnected that wire. I'm going to start the truck up. And you'll see, unfortunately, there are quite a few lights on. Like I said, I want to make this selectable, and so I definitely want to know when I have my system turned off. So the VSC off, the VSC track, this indicator here, which is another stability control or traction control, and the e-brake light. So all three of those lights remain on. kind of unfortunate. This is not a perfect fix. This is just trying to make this truck safe enough to tow through the mountains. So let's go coast down the hill right here. I'm not pushing it when I'm driving. We're gonna coast down the hill and see how many beep, 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 beeps we can get. I'm also gonna get on some dirt and see if I can lock up the tires and how well the ABS system works. Notice we're still going under the speed limit here. I'm 10 under the speed limit. I'm doing these corners faster than I normally would. We're not hooniganing just to get you some beeps. Now, this section right here is usually terrifying in this truck, unless I'm in four-wheel drive. Hey, Chucker. What's up, Chucker, dude? Love me some Chuckers. Again, we're still under the speed limit, but that section right there, that's usually a beep. That's usually a beep. Right there. That was my coffee. Just smooth. I like this. I like this a lot. So the next check we have to do is analog brakes. Turn down our radio. So we're getting up to the top of a large gravel parking lot. So I'm gonna, as carefully as I can, I'm gonna test analog brakes. Okay, here we are. So here's a gravel parking lot. Let's see if analog brakes still work. Oh, there's some influencers up there taking pictures. Good for them. Okay, so here we are. Analog brakes are hard to test. Yes, analog brakes still work. I just pulled into this gravel parking lot, you know, not over the speed limit, but faster than I normally would. And the tires did not lock up. But if I were to step on it right now, we can get it to break loose. This is kind of a win right now. Let's go plug that in and see how it works. We're still unplugged. I'm gonna plug this back in and we'll go finish the drive down the mountain. And I'll let you listen to the beeps. So once again, truck's off. We're plugged back in. Okay, all my lights are off. No lights at all. Well, once I buckle my seatbelt. And no lights are on, and we are ready to drive normally, which means we're gonna hear beep, 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 beep. My foot is on the brake. So the system knows that I'm trying to control this truck, and yet it's still beeping at me. That time it didn't engage the brake, but that's another weird one, is your foot's on the brake, and the system starts beeping at you, and when it engages that brake, it'll put your foot into the floor almost. It's just, there we are. I hate that thing. I've temporarily wired up that wire on the master cylinder to this switch. I didn't put my own meter on, so I don't know exactly where the switch is at. Let's start right there. Turn the truck on. Okay, so sorry about the sun. No warning lights. It appears the switch is on. We've closed that circuit. There. I flipped the switch with the truck running. It did not do anything. Let's restart it. Okay, now the switch is back to the factory position. No warning lights are on. You can see the warning lights. So now my traction control is off. I've now tested the switch. I tested driving the truck with the plug here, plugged in, unplugged. We were able to maintain ABS brakes, but we didn't have traction control, which I feel is much, much safer for this truck in most situations, especially, you know, going up to the ski hill, driving along the river, mountain roads, and towing. I'm really have not liked towing with this truck because that stability control system just causes all sorts of issues. And so I did this practice switch right here. It only works with the truck off. So turn the truck off, flip the switch, turn the truck back on. The stability control is turned off then. In most cases, I think driving around town, when my kids are driving it, we're gonna leave the traction control on. I'm gonna put this switch somewhere under the dash so that when I'm towing or going on the mountain roads, I can activate the switch, turn off all traction control. Just need to find a good spot to put this switch or another one. I think I'll probably use one that matches the Toyota a little bit better. But this temporary setup, proof of concept, I'll get on that. Once again, this is one of those things you do at your own risk. Do not modify your vehicle unless you know what you're doing and you understand the risks. But for us, it's going to make it overall a safer vehicle. And I'll be able to modulate my stability, VSC, stability, traction control systems, whatever. Please share down in the comments your first-gen Tundras. I love these trucks. This has just been a major hurdle for us. So hopefully this helps somebody else out there. Once again, at your own risk.